Hello, everyone. Before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to remind you that my book, Drummers on Drumming, is available now on Amazon as both a paperback and an ebook. Based on the Big Fat Five segment of this podcast, where I sit down with my favorite drummers to discuss the 5 records and stories that shaped their approach to the instrument, this book is packed with insights from the drummers who redefined how we think about the modern drum set. You can grab your copy now by checking the link in this episode's show notes or simply searching Drummers on Drumming on Amazon. So thank you for all the support, and now let's get into the show. Hello. Welcome back to Big Fat Five, a podcast financially supported by Big Fat Snare Drum. This is part 2 and essentially a bonus episode for my conversation with Dan Mayo. Today, Dan talks about the 5 specific records that shaped the way he tunes his drums, something he's quite known for, and approaches writing in general. So, without further ado, Dan's first choice is Blood Sugar Sex Magic by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which is Chad Smith on drums. I chose the title track because it starts with a cute little groove, but Dan just chose the whole record in general. So anyways, enjoy part 2 of my conversation with Dan Mayo. Cheers. Man, I actually don't listen to this record enough. It's a good one.
It's an amazing record. I mean, I listened to it so much when I was young. So now when I hear it, it's like, okay, yeah, I know this already. But every now and then, it's fun to just revisit this album. That's for sure. With this album, actually, I'm gonna keep it simple. Just the snare sound. When I heard this snare sound, I felt like, okay, this is a snare sound I want. And basically, I chased this snare sound because I was a kid. I didn't know it's like a lot of mix process and stuff. I thought that's his snare. That's how his snare sounds.
Yeah.
So I looked for the perfect snare and for ways to for my snare to sound like that, and I almost got it. And I feel like my snare right now, like my regular snare, my high pitch main snare, when I play it, like on Elephant with Tatron, it's kind of the same ballpark of like sounds without the reverb. Basically I just searched for this sound. I felt like this sound is just awesome. And I born on 90s, so for me just like that's how snare should sound.
I'm with you, by the way. I was born in 87, but that's okay. My by the way, I'm sure people are going to want to know, what is your main snare that you're, what is it?
Right now it's like every time is something different. On Tatron is just raw brass. My first snare from A&F ever, raw brass, 5.5 inch by 14. Love this snare to death.
Yeah.
And also I have like another snare 4 inch by 13. It's a nickel over brass with 8 lugs. Crazy snare, super loud. Even louder than my 14 inch raw brass. So that's funny. But these are basically my go-to main snares. And as a side snare, I use like a aluminium snare, like 14 inch. So you have like a very fat snare, or a gancho snare, very heavy, or the tiny one, the 6 inch or 8 inch that I put on top.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. I've been actually digging on 13 inches lately. I like the rebound of a 13 inch feels a little bit better than a 14. Anyways,
it almost feels like when you crank up an amp, but it's tiny amp, so it's easy to crank it up. You know what I mean? To get the juice out of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's awesome.
All right, so next one is going to be These Are the Vistas by the Bad Plus. That's the record, and it's Dave King on drums. I would love to get him on the podcast. That dude's mind is pretty incredible. But I chose the song Flim. I could have chosen
Beautiful.
more of a jazz, version of his playing on that record, but there
No,
you
that's
go.
beautiful, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. I think it's a cover, right? It's a
Yeah, I think most of what they do. Yeah, totally.
yeah. So it's amazing cover though. It sounds amazing. Dave is. I heard him when I was 16 for the first time on this record, and I was blown away. I was like, wait a second, you can play drums like that? You can just basically break the rules. That's for me. That's what it was back
Mhm.
then. Pure evil. Just he's going for it.
Yeah.
Even when he plays quiet, he just is going for the kill. So amazing drummer, and he opens so many doors, like mentally for me on the drum set. So
Great.
yeah.
All right. Number 3 is the record, again, we've referenced it quite a bit, but it's Afrikia by Karim Zied. And yeah, I think let's see which song I chose. Amelia. There you go.
Yeah.
Just play that one. Yeah, that bass player is just going crazy.
Woo! Totally.
The bass drum's doing something cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of implying a whole different pulse.
Yeah. Woo! What a best that's amazing.
So is that bass drum, like if here's the meter, is it going bop 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 bop, or am I just hearing the downbeat in a totally different way than you are?
No, I think you're correct.
Okay.
Correct. In this song, it's not like the groove we talked about earlier. The takt. Oh, it's not that. It's takt. It's more like a. It's like this. It's more like regular, or more familiar.
Yeah.
Beat. Yeah, but the bass player just go nuts on this song. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But also with Karim Ziad, you can hear the pulse everywhere, in so many different places, all at once. It's not like you hear it one time in one way, and then he does something crazy and you hear it in a certain way. Like from the start, you can hear like 4 different pulses all at once, and you can see people dancing differently from each other. That's for me. That's amazing. So yeah, and this also this sound of drums, like for me, shaped my my whole approach to drums. Very tight snare, a lot of inner phrases between a large phrase. So I feel like my playing is affected a lot from this album and Karim Ziad.
Yeah, again, as if you've been listening this whole time, each song we've played from this record is drastically different. So he's definitely not a one-trick pony.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
All right, so number 4 is Nefertiti by Miles Davis, and that is, of course, Tony Williams on drums. And I wish I could just play this whole record, but I'm just going to play Pinocchio, and I'm going to start it at about 1:30, because this is when Tony starts to do, it's during Miles' solo, but Tony starts to do a little more talking back and forth, and he gets a little more confident in what he wants to say, which is funny. I'm sure, Miles is like, hey man, this is my solo, but it's Tony Williams, so he's like, yeah, do your thing. Calm down, buddy.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Dude, so cool.
Oh my god. beautiful.
Dude, yeah. And when he was doing kind of that bass drum going with Miles' kind of walk down was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, he's all about reaction. This guy, I feel like he's playing the gig with his balls on the floor. I mean, that's crazy. He's like, that's crazy. But it's a amazing combination between, like, he's really connected with both worlds. And like I'll explain. I feel like in one hand is like he really knows where's the form and how to like play the structure of the song really well. He knows where everyone should get back, and he knows how to get everyone back to safety. With that said, he can actually fly high with everyone. Like the reactions, he's like reacting to everything so beautifully. Just the phrases are amazing, and you can hear the back and forth between him and Miles and the bass player. I mean, everything is just crazy. But then he brings everyone's back. I mean, that's amazing. He's a master. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, jazz is still something that I didn't grow up really appreciating it as much as I should. And it's kind of like, like we're all hearing the same things. You just don't know what you're hearing. And once you can actually kind of, clue into like, well, listen to how they're reacting to each other. Listen to this specific thing. It's kind of like hockey for me. I didn't know what was going on with hockey. And then way back in the day, I lived with someone who used to play hockey. So he was explaining to me what was going on. And I was like, oh, this is so much more interesting. It's not just chaos,
Yeah.
So I'm kind of I'm sure a lot of people are broken records when it comes to get into jazz, but I'm getting into my journey with jazz. But all right, last one is Sex Machine by James Brown.
Yeah, most common.
It's funny. This is when he counts it off, which we'll hear in a second. A frequent guest on the podcast, Gunnar Olsen, when he was playing with Big Data, that 1, 2, 3, 4 was the count off. So whenever he hears this, it always kind of brings him back to that. But so Sex Machine by James Brown, and you'll just hear Mr. Brown just talking a whole lot beforehand. Oh, of course, it's Jabbo Sparks, by the way, on drums.
Fellas, I'm ready to get up and do my thing. Go ahead. I want to get into it, man, like a sex machine, man. Moving, doing it, Can I count it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Get up, get on up, get up, get on up. Stay on the scene, get on up, like a sex machine. Get on up, get up, get on up, get up, get on up. Stay on the scene, get on up, like a sex machine. Get on up, get up, get on up. Stay on the scene, get on up, like a sex machine. Get on up. Wait a minute, shake your arm, then use your palm. Stay on the scene, like a sex machine.
Oh boy.
Man, just holding it down.
Woo. I mean, when I heard this song when I was a kid for the first time, and I felt like I'm going to explode. I mean, this song stinks in the best way ever. I mean, you can smell the sweat. Oh man, that's so juicy.
Yeah.
And everything is like, oh man, it's unbearable. That's what I felt when I heard it. So so I mean, when I heard it, I learned what groove is, and I was trying to work on my 8 notes for them to sound stinky as this this song, and I noticed you can do a lot with 8 notes, basically. So yeah, ever since then for me it was like a game changer, this song.
Do you ever play traditional?
I played for a period of time, but I'm not good at it. I mean, I can play traditional, but I'm not comfortable, and obviously I think you can tell, of course. I'm not like very comfortable with traditional. I'm like really comfortable with match. That's the most common grip.
Yeah, I just
and comfortable for
whenever, because I'm not good at all at it. I mean, if I try and do a double or a quick little diddle, it just falls apart. And so when I want to force myself to just to play less, I'll go traditional. If I'm just lay it down, because that's all I can do with it. So it's kind of like it forces me to have a style.
Definitely.
'Cause
I
I'm
do
limited.
that too. I mean,
you know?
man, I do that too. I mean, when I was playing jazz and I needed to play like really quiet in gigs, cafe gigs and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was playing traditional because I was playing less, and also the stick is like I was resting my hand with the stick on the snare drum, and then every time when I wanted to play something, I can just move my hand a little bit, and so I felt like, okay, that's good. I can play quiet like this, but I can't actually play drums when I play traditional. It's not comfortable.
Yeah, I also play kind of behind the beat when I'm, because like my that rotation, it's almost like I don't want to practice it too much because then I'll get used to the timing. Because right now I'm not good at it, so it forces me to be like, oh my god, like I would play a stinky beat, but not in the sense of you're there just like he stinks at that beat.
Come
It's a
on.
different one, but
I'm sure he's not that. Yeah.
all
man.
right, Dan. Well, that's your big fat 5, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you
Thanks.
coming on the show. Those are fun ones. And again, I'm going to just say I guarantee very few people have heard of all these, so I'm sure there's a lot of rabbit holes people can go down. But is there, I mean, what's going on in the horizon for you when it comes to records coming out? Because I'm sure there's no tours planned to talk about yet, but
Yeah, that's for sure.
yeah.
I'm working a lot with Tatron on new stuff that I can't tell too much about it right now. But we work hard for new material and new projects, like secret projects. I work a lot on my own craft, trying to. I'm gonna make like a few crazy videos soon. I'm not. I don't want to spoiler or anything.
Okay.
So it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And a lot of searching on my pedal board, a few gigs here in Israel, and that's it for now. I'm just and also I'm learning how to record myself. I'm still a student, so I'm just learning how to record and mix myself. I learned that through COVID outbreak because I had time. So finally I had to I could go to the studio and started to record and mix myself, and it was amazing for me, and I'm keeping with that. That's for sure. And that's it. Yeah, I hope to get on the road soon because I miss my friends. I miss like seeing other countries. It's so fun. And yeah, you know, Israel's like very small, so it's very contained like space.
Yeah.
So it's like
You've seen
it's
it
like
all.
you drive. Yeah, you drive 6 hours and that's it. That's you get towards the end. So definitely miss flying and touring and music, people, crowd, whatnot.
Sure.
So,
All right. Well, Dan, thank you so much, man. It's good to see you. Hopefully,
Thank you.
coming soon, we'll be able to see each other in person. But have a great night, man. I know it's late where you are, so thanks for taking
it's
the time.
fine. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, thank you for having me, really. And also, I really hope to see you again, face to face too. And I'm sorry it took so long. I'm speaking very slow in English, so.
Dude, you killed it, man.
Sorry.
No.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. All right,
Thanks,
man.
man.
Have a good one.
Okay. Good one. Ciao.
And that's the show. If you're interested, please check out www.bigfatsnaredrum.com and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok @BigFatSnareDrum. Cheers, y'all.